Worthwhile Crew. What is up? It's Chip Cashy here, and back for another vid today. Just giving you a bit of an update on my running situation. Maybe around the middle of last year, I started to really enjoy and get into running more regularly. Started trying to, run a little bit further. Started to try and beat my 5K, PB on a regular basis. It's kind of snowballed a little bit from there. I'm running 3-4 days a week every week. Earlier this year I entered into my first ever actual running event. So me and a few mates were in the Sunset Series, which was it was intended to be a 3-race series. Unfortunately, one of them had to be cancelled at short notice, but we did 2 races. Which you may have seen. I did a couple of vids on the 2 events that did go ahead, one at the Tan and one at the Melbourne Zoo. Well, that was my first official event series, which was 2 events. Another running thing that I've been doing quite regularly is called Park Run. Now, you may or may not have heard of Park Run. It's a community 5K timed run that's free to enter. Just have to register online, and they take place. It's actually a global thing, but they're all over. I live in Melbourne. They're all over Melbourne. They're all over the country, and you go down to these. They're park runs. They're in parks, as the name suggests. They kick off at 8 a.m. on Saturday mornings. If you had asked me a couple of years ago whether I'd like to get up early to go for a run at 8 o'clock on Saturday morning, I would have looked at you like you were insane. But believe it or not, it's so good, and these days I'm so keen for running. You also get heaps out of the day after you finish a run at 8:30 in the morning. You're up and about and you get a lot done. So yeah, it's a really good community-based event. So it's really, it's not meant to be a race, but like I always say I'm going to take it easy, and then once you get going, it's you try and overtake people. It's a lot of fun though. But yeah, as I mentioned, they're all over the place. I've only been to sort of my local ones, so most of them, the ones I've done, are at Parkville, Albert Park, Studley Park, and also Warringal Park, which is outside of Heidelberg Way. You'd be amazed how many people are out there ready to smash a 5K on a Saturday morning. There's this whole running community that I'm sort of plugged into now that I just, I guess I never stopped to think about before. Of course it exists. It's a huge thing. And another element of the running that I've adopted is, you may have noticed on my singlet, I've joined the Crosby Crew, which are a local community running group. I've trained with them a few times, registered. It's just a small annual fee, and you can get some real professional coaching, and again, it's a real sort of community-based thing. So I train with them every Tuesday, either at the Tan or Olympic Park, or some of the other parks like around the city, Fitzroy Gardens, and up and around the Yarra and that sort of thing. So I'm sort of doing endurance stuff at the moment. There's skills groups and speed groups, and yeah, the reason that I'm in the endurance group with Crosby Crew at the moment is because I've actually, again, another thing that would have sounded crazy to me a couple of years ago, is I've just signed up for 2 half marathons. So one of them is Run Melbourne, which is coming up at the end of July. Now, I had signed up for Run Melbourne last year. It didn't go ahead for obvious reasons, but I'd only signed up for the 5K. That sounded like a long distance to me at the beginning of 2020. Things have really changed quite drastically from there. So I've switched that to the half marathon, which for those who aren't sure, that's 21.1 kilometers. I think it's 21 point something. Yeah, I'm really looking forward to that. So that's Run Melbourne in July, and then the Melbourne Marathon is happening in October, which I've also signed up for, and I'm training for both of these events. They're just the half marathon, but as part of the Melbourne Marathon, there's shorter distances and obviously your full marathon. So at work, one of my colleagues said to me, "You're one of those sick people that likes to run for fun, aren't you?" And I was like, yep, that's who I've become, believe it or not. I never thought that would be me, but here we are. So basically my running schedule works like this at the moment. Mondays I don't run, Tuesdays I train with the crew, Wednesdays I chill, do other stuff, maybe weights or whatever. Thursday I'll get out just on my own usually, do just an easy, somewhere between 7 and 12 Ks. Saturday we do the park run first thing early, which is just a 5K, and maybe I'll do a few Ks, either side of that, just on the way there or back. Sundays, I'm learning this running lingo now, is SLR, Sunday long runs, and training for these 2 half marathons. I'm really focusing on that, so I'll try and do a real good distance on a Sunday, usually upwards of 13, 14 Ks up to over 20 Ks. So a couple of things I'll take with me. I'll take one of these protein bars, and I've been getting into these gels. They've got carbs and sugar and stuff that you actually do need if you're running long distances, but I mean, also for me it's a little sneaky way of having some chocolate and some sugary flavour, which I don't have in my normal diet. And then afterwards, I'll always smash down a Powerade. You need the electrolytes after you run, 20 Ks for example. So I've committed myself to have some of these, what seem like treats really based on what I normally eat, but the truth is they're really good for me when you're running longer distances. You actually need those calories, and you got to replace those sorts of things in your system. I guess at some point or another you sort of realize, or maybe you just decide that, yeah, I'm a runner. That's what I am. That's what I do, type of thing. The old me would have had a very difficult time trying to imagine that, but it's crazy what can happen. There's a lot of benefits to it that I'm finding, so it's just really great for your cardio and burning calories. It's really good for my mental health as well, so I'm out there, release those endorphins. On one hand, it's a way that I can just be on my own. It's time, that I can really have a good think and clear my mind. And if I'm having a shit day and I go for a run, I always feel better afterward. And then on the other hand, with my crew that I'm running with, and the guys that I run with on Saturdays, special shout outs to Tass and Steve. It's a social thing as well. So then when I go to park run or I go to training on Tuesdays, there's that whole social element where you're running with other people and you're doing it as a group, and meeting new people and stuff like that. So the funny thing is, at one point at the start of last year, I said this:
times are getting better. I'm not trying to be a runner or anything, but
Tass mentioned to me that he's like, you said that, and I was like, did I say that? I think I did. I have to go back and find that, because I find that pretty funny now, based on what's been happening. So that's it. Just a little update on my running. Kind of got into it as I was not planning, but here we go, and I'll keep you updated when we get closer to the half marathons. So this is Chip Casual. This has been The Worthwhile. Thanks for joining me, and we'll see you in the next video.